What's up, yogis? I'm here to teach you about downward dog today. If you've been to any yoga class, you've definitely done a downward dog, most likely. It's a challenging pose because we're working with overhead range of motion, we're bearing weight, and we're trying to find what's called a neutral spine. So that looks like this. The opposite of slumping, yet somehow you're doing it with your hands on the ground, and you see people who are flexible, they do it with their legs straight. So if you're at all tight, that's just not going to work for you. One thing you can do, bend your knees and take the feet a little bit wider like a squat, and then you use that to really push your hips back. So that's going to take care of your spine to help you find a straight spine. If you were to straighten the legs from there, you might be able to keep your back straight. If you start to round like this, you know you've gone too far. So this should feel absolutely nothing like a plank. We're actually creating a straight line from the arm bones through the spine. And so in a way, your actual bones help support the position, which is the same reason why people can do handstands and headstands so easily. It's because they have this neutral spine and a straight line through the arm bones. So that looks at the spine. Let's also consider the actual shoulders. It's very important to be able to keep your arms straight. If you're bending your elbows and they go out to the sides, you can put a lot of stress on the front of your shoulder. So the main action is really externally rotating the shoulders, which looks something like this. Camera 2. Camera 2. There we go. So external rotation of the shoulder. Starts with your palms facing each other. And then we keep that as we bring the arms overhead. If you go into a kneeling position like me, or table pose as we call it in yoga, so you can have your knees on something comfortable and padded, and we'll start from here. Palms face each other. And then start to draw your buttocks back towards your feet. And that's actually going to bring your arm more into its full range of motion. Keep rooting through the edge of the hand. So you might start to feel a little bit of limitation around some of the muscles around your armpits. Those are muscles that draw your shoulders away from the ears. And then you can bow your head down towards the earth. Cool. Notice how your chest is open. Shoulder blades are spreading wide. We want to keep all that stuff. And now bring your palms to the floor. Try not to move your upper arm bones too much. A little bit of movement inward is normal and totally healthy, but we don't want to be like collapsing like that. So be sure your arms are straight, palms are down, and just hang out. Okay, so we'll take that same awareness now into downward dog. Start from a table pose with your hands under your shoulders. And then as you push through your hands, spread your shoulder blades. Next, lift your knees. And then from there, push your palms forward to draw the buttocks back. So now we're in that neutral spine position. And if this feels like too much for your shoulders, you can always take rest. You can also try a different approach to the posture, which I call wall dog. Camera 1. And so for this one, you'll actually stand next to a wall. I'm going to take my hands like lower than my shoulder height, arms straight. And we're trying to scrub outwards. That's an action of external rotation. It doesn't have to be this dramatic. You might have your index fingers aiming up. That's cool. So with the hands on the wall now, we're going to step the feet away from the wall, about hip width or wider, and then bend your knees. This way you're hinging at the hip and cultivating neutral spine. And then you press your heart towards your feet. One thing you want to avoid is really hanging off your joints like this. So what we do is contract the abdomen to pull the front ribs in a little bit. And you can probably stay here for at least a minute or so. If it's too much for your shoulder, back off a little bit. If you get dizzy, you can also back off, lifting the head above the arms. Cool. And then we'll come out of it. So that's just a very quick tutorial of how to do downward dog. As flexibility increases, the ideas do change. So for someone who is quite flexible, it'll probably look something more like this. Spine neutral first, and then they might be cued to root their heels into the earth. So maybe it looks like this. That person might also use a little more core strength and contract their buttocks, their glutes. So now we start to reverse the straight spine, inviting a little bit of roundness through the spine. This can be a really great way to develop the ability to float from downward dog through through to sitting. And so if you hear different cues around downward dog, that might have something to do with it. Anyways, thanks very much, everybody. There's lots more to say about this pose, but I think that about covers it for now. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below or reach out to me through my website. And I'd love for you to join me for 15 days of yoga. Come and practice whenever you can. Live stream is always the best way to go, but the on-demand is updated right after class. Thanks, yogis. Keep practicing. Stop recording.